You ever see someone walk into a room and just feel rich, but you can't quite figure out why? They're not covered in flashy designer logos. They're not dripping in gold chains. But something about them just radiates money. That's quiet luxury, the kind of wealth that doesn't need to prove itself. And if you know what to look for, you'll start spotting it everywhere. See, the truly rich don't need to announce their money. The people who go all out with designer everything, that's new money behavior. Think lottery winners, rappers, or influencers who just hit their first big paycheck. They want you to know they have money. But the kind of people who've been rich for generations, they do things differently. Their wealth is built into their lifestyle in ways that are almost invisible, unless you already belong to that world. So today I'm breaking down 15 subtle signs of quiet luxury, things only the truly wealthy recognize. And once you start noticing these, you'll never see money the same way again. Number 1, they own things you can't just buy. The wealthiest people don't show off with things anyone with money can buy. Instead, their status comes from access, exclusivity, and connections, things that aren't available to just anyone, no matter how much they're willing to spend. Take private clubs, for example. Luxury hotels are nice, but the ultra-rich prefer members-only spaces like Annabelle's in London or the Core Club in New York. These places don't just take your money and hand you a membership. You need the right connections, the right reputation, and sometimes even the right family name to get in. It's less about wealth and more about who you are in the right circles. Then there's the way they buy things. Instead of chasing the latest designer trends, they focus on unique, meaningful pieces. Their watches might come from an independent Swiss watchmaker rather than a mainstream luxury brand. Their artwork isn't just expensive, it has history, maybe even a personal connection to the artist. Their furniture could be a one-of-a-kind handcrafted piece instead of something mass-produced, no matter how high-end the brand. When it comes to investing, they aren't buying stocks off an app or flipping houses like the average investor. Their money goes into exclusive off-market deals, private equity, early-stage businesses, or real estate opportunities most people will never hear about. By the time a big investment trend reaches the public, they've already made their profit and moved on to the next opportunity. At its core, true wealth isn't just about having money, it's about being part of a world that money alone can't buy into. The real power of being rich isn't in what you own, but in the access and opportunities that come with it. Number 2, they travel differently. For most people, traveling is a special occasion, something they save up for, plan months in advance, and squeeze into their vacation days. But for the rich, it's just part of everyday life. And no, it's not just about flying first class or staying in fancy hotels. The way they travel is on a whole different level. First off, they don't deal with the usual airport hassles. No long security lines, no baggage claim stress. Many of them fly private, but even if they don't, they use VIP services that get them through security and immigration in minutes. While most travelers are stuck waiting at the gate, they're already sipping champagne in a quiet lounge or being driven straight to the plane. When it comes to where they stay, they don't book resorts like everyone else. They own homes in the world's most exclusive destinations, places like Aspen, the Hamptons, or the south of France. And these aren't vacation homes that sit empty most of the year. They have full-time staff, so whenever they decide to visit, everything is ready. The fridge is stocked, the pool is warm, and their favorite flowers are already on the table. But the biggest difference? It's how they experience travel. Most people go to Rome, snap pictures at the Colosseum, and wait in line for a touristy plate of pasta. The ultra-rich? They book a private after-hours tour with a historian who gives them a personal deep dive into ancient Rome. While others are jostling for a selfie at the Louvre, they're getting an exclusive tour with the museum's curator, walking through empty halls like they own the place. For them, travel isn't about escaping everyday life. It is everyday life. They don't just visit places. They experience them in a way that's completely out of reach for the average traveler. Number 3, they have a different relationship with time. For most people, life revolves around making money. But for the rich, money changes the way they experience time. It lets them live life on their own terms. Take everyday tasks, for example. Grocery shopping, cleaning, booking appointments. Regular people spend hours every week handling these things. The rich, they have assistants, housekeepers, and personal shoppers who take care of it all. Their time is too valuable to spend on errands. Then there's work. Most people are stuck in a fixed schedule, clocking in at 9, clocking out at 5. The rich don't do that. They set their own hours, take meetings when it's convenient for them, and if that means handling business from a yacht or a private villa, that's exactly what they do. And when it comes to being on time, it's not the same for them. If a regular person is 20 minutes late to a meeting, they might get in trouble. But if someone powerful walks in late, the meeting hasn't even started yet because everyone's waiting for them. At the end of the day, the real luxury isn't just having money, it's having control over your own time. When you don't have to rush, wait, or ask for permission, life looks completely different. Number 4, their social circle is a different breed. They say you become like the people you spend the most time with. And for the rich, that means being around others who think and operate on the same level. It's not just about money, it's about mindset, opportunities, and the way they see the world. For starters, their conversations are different. While most people chat about weekend plans, office drama, or the latest TV show, wealthy circles talk about business moves, investment strategies, and ideas that could change industries. They're not complaining about their boss. They are the boss, discussing how to scale their companies or where to park their money for the next big return. Their social lives don't revolve around networking events or random meetups. They build connections in private settings. Think exclusive dinner parties, yacht gatherings, or members-only clubs. Many of these relationships go back generations, making it nearly impossible for outsiders to break in. And these friendships, they're not just for fun. Sure, they enjoy themselves, but their relationships often turn into business ventures, investment deals, or long-term partnerships. When everyone around you is used to success, it stops feeling like something rare. It's just the way life works. Number 5, they stay unbothered because they can. You can tell a lot about someone by how they handle stress. And when it comes to the truly rich, you'll notice one thing. They don't sweat the small stuff. Take everyday annoyances. Someone cuts them off in traffic. They don't honk or yell. They just keep driving. Their food order's wrong. They're not arguing with the waiter. Why? Because it's just not worth their time or energy. They've got bigger things to focus on. And when it comes to problems that actually need fixing, they don't stress. They delegate. If a flight gets canceled, they're not stuck on hold with customer service for an hour. They call their assistant or their airline's VIP service, and within minutes, they're on another flight, maybe even a private one. They also don't waste time trying to impress people. They're not flexing their wealth or proving their status because they don't need to. While others are caught up in showing off, they're just living life comfortably on their own terms. At the end of the day, real wealth isn't just about money. It's about having the kind of peace where nothing throws you off balance. Number 6, their car looks normal, but costs a fortune. Rich people don't always drive the kind of cars you'd expect. You might picture a billionaire rolling up in a bright orange Lamborghini, doors swinging up like a spaceship. But that's not really how it works. Instead, they go for cars that don't scream for attention, but still cost a fortune. Take a matte black Range Rover autobiography. To most people, it looks like just another SUV, but in reality, it's a $160,000 rolling luxury suite. It's built for comfort, not just flash. Then there's the Porsche 911 Turbo S. It's not overly loud or flashy, but anyone who knows cars understands what it is. One of the fastest and most well-engineered machines on the road. And if they're into electric cars, it's probably not because they're on some big environmental mission. It's likely a Tesla Model S Plaid, because it happens to be one of the fastest sedans in the world. But the real power move? Not driving at all. The ultra-rich aren't stuck in traffic themselves. They're in the back seat, working or relaxing, while a chauffeur handles everything. And the car is probably not even in their name. Smart people keep assets like that under company ownership or in trusts, keeping liabilities low and paperwork minimal. So next time you see a car that looks understated but somehow feels expensive, pay attention. The person inside isn't worried about gas prices, or much of anything else, really. Number 7, they have their own way of talking about money. Rich people don't talk about money the same way everyone else does. They've got their own way of saying things, one that makes everything sound smoother, fancier, and a little less obvious. Take a regular person who just got a raise. They'll say, I got a raise at work. Simple, right? But a rich person? They'll say something like, I had a liquidity event. Sounds complicated, but all it really means is they made a lot of money, probably from selling a business, cashing in on investments, or flipping a property. Instead of just saying, I got paid, they dress it up in a way that makes it seem effortless. And then there's how they handle prices. Most people ask, how much does that cost before making a purchase? The rich, they don't ask, they just buy. In their world, if you have to check the price, you're probably not the target customer. That's why you'll hear them say things like, I'll take the usual, or whatever the chef recommends, instead of scanning the menu for the cheapest option. It's not necessarily about showing off. It's just that when money isn't something you have to think about, the way you talk about it changes too. Number 8, their teeth are perfect, but not in a fake way. Ever seen someone with teeth so white they look like they glow in the dark? Or veneers so big they could pass for a set of piano keys? That's usually a sign of new money, or someone trying just a little too hard. The truly rich? Their teeth are perfect, but in a way you don't immediately notice. Straight, naturally white, nothing too extreme. No blindingly bright whitening treatments, no oversized veneers, just years of subtle and very expensive dental work that started when they were kids. While most teenagers were stuck with metal braces, they had Invisalign before anyone even knew what it was. And it's not just their teeth. Their skin, smooth, clear, and healthy, not because they hoard skincare products, but because they've had access to the best dermatologists since they were 15. Instead of scrambling for miracle creams later in life, they've been getting professional treatments for years, keeping everything in check before problems even start. If you ever want to spot old money, don't look at their clothes or their car. Look at their teeth and skin. That kind of maintenance isn't flashy, but it's definitely not cheap, and it's never accidental. Number 9, they buy things that get more valuable over time. When someone suddenly comes into money, you can usually tell. They go all out. Flashy cars, designer clothes, maybe even a private jet just because they can. It's less about what they actually like, and more about proving they've made it. But people who've been rich for a while, they see money differently. Instead of splurging on things that lose value the second they buy them, they put their money into things that get more valuable over time. Take art, for example. They're not picking up random paintings just to decorate their walls. They're buying pieces that serious collectors want. Art that holds its value and gets passed down for generations. Or watches. Not the over-the-top, diamond-covered ones you see in rap videos. Think Patek Philippe or Vacheron Constantin. Brands that quietly appreciate in value and could be worth millions one day. And then there's real estate. But not just any real estate. They buy in places like New York, London, or Singapore. Cities where demand never really drops, and prices tend to go in one direction. Up. Ever met someone who casually mentions buying a building in Manhattan or a vineyard in France? That's not just spending money. That's setting up long-term wealth. Number 10, how they order at restaurants says it all. You can always tell when someone's new to money by the way they act at a fancy restaurant. They'll spend way too long staring at the menu, trying to pick the most expensive dish. And when they finally order, it's loud and deliberate, something like, I'll have the Wagyu steak, medium rare. You know, just to make sure everyone at the table knows they can afford it. Now, someone who's been rich for a while, they don't make a big deal about ordering. Half the time, they don't even look at the menu. They already know what they like, or they trust the chef enough to let them decide. You'll hear things like, I'll have the usual. They eat here so often the staff just brings their go-to order without asking. What do you recommend today? Not because they're indecisive, but because they know the chef has something special in mind. Surprise me. When price isn't a factor, the experience matters more than the meal itself. It's not about trying to impress anyone. It's about moving through the world like you belong, because when you really do, there's no need to prove it. Number 11, they smell expensive, but not in an obvious way. You ever walk past someone and get hit with a cloud of cologne so strong it feels like a personal attack? That's not class. That's just overkill. People with real money don't walk around smelling like a department store fragrance counter. Their scent is subtle, but if you get close enough, it sticks with you. It's the kind of thing that makes you think, damn, what was that? Think Tom Ford Oud Wood, smooth, expensive, but not in your face. Or Maison Francis Kurkdjian, Baccarat Rouge 540, the kind of scent that makes people turn their heads but never quite figure out why. The secret? They don't bathe in it. Just a touch, barely noticeable, until you remember it hours later. Number 12, they dress like they don't even try. Rich people don't need flashy logos to prove they have money. You won't see them in head-to-toe designer brands or wearing a shirt that screams, "Look at me, I'm expensive." Instead, their style is effortless, clean, understated, but always a step above everyone else's. It all comes down to fit and quality. Their clothes aren't just expensive, they're tailored to perfection. Even a simple t-shirt sits just right on their shoulders. That plain sweater? It's probably cashmere from Loro Piana. The white button-down? Made from Egyptian cotton so soft it feels like butter. Instead of chasing trends, they focus on details that only a trained eye would notice. Their shoes are hand-stitched leather, their jackets fit like they were made just for them, and their watches aren't the flashy, diamond-covered kind. They're the ones serious collectors appreciate. It's never about proving anything. It's about wearing what feels good and knowing they look great without needing a brand name to say it for them. Number 13. They move like they own the place. Rich people move differently. It's not about what they wear or what they drive, but the way they carry themselves. They never look rushed, stressed, or in a hurry to be somewhere. While everyone else is power walking through an airport or scarfing down lunch at their desk, they're strolling at their own pace, taking their time, because they can. It's not laziness, it's control. Their movements are smooth and deliberate, like they're the ones setting the rhythm of the room. They don't fidget or check their phone every 2 seconds. When they walk in, they don't need to make a scene. You just notice. It's the kind of quiet confidence that makes people wonder who they are before they even say a word. Number 14. Other people do the bragging for them. Truly rich people don't go around telling everyone how much their stuff costs. You won't hear them bragging about their $50,000 watch or dropping designer brand names in every conversation. That's more of a new money thing. Instead, they let their lifestyle do the talking. If you compliment their jacket, they'll just say, "Oh, thanks," without mentioning that it's a $5,000 piece of handcrafted Italian tailoring. Ask about their watch, and they might just shrug and say, "I've had it for a while," even though it's worth more than a car. They don't need to prove anything. The restaurants they eat at, the places they vacation, and even the way they carry themselves make it obvious. The real flex? People just knowing you're rich without you ever having to say it. Number 15. They live life at their own pace. Rich people move differently. You won't see them rushing through an airport, desperately trying to make their flight. They don't need to. They either fly private or know another plane can be arranged. While most people are shoving down a sandwich between meetings, they're sitting at a quiet table, taking their time with a meal that's more about the experience than just getting full. They don't speed walk through office hallways or glance at the clock every 5 minutes. If they're late, the meeting starts when they arrive. It's not arrogance, it's just a different relationship with time. When you don't have to trade hours for money, life slows down. You move at your own pace, not the one the world tries to force on you. That's the real luxury, having control over your time, not just your bank account. So, what have you noticed? Now that you know the subtle signs of quiet wealth, have you ever come across someone who just felt rich without trying? Maybe it was the way they dressed, how they spoke, or just the effortless way they moved. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you've observed. And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.